NATO and Western intelligence allies believe that Russia is behind the diversions in the Euro-Atlantic region, ranging from repeated cyberattacks to arson. Christian Freuding, head of the Special Staff for Ukraine at the German Ministry of Defense, stated that Germany is the primary target of Russia's hybrid attacks due to Berlin's strong support for Kyiv.
We are fully aware that, from Russian perspective, in Russians' view, Western Europe or Germany are not at peace with Russia, and old rules like international law from Russian perspective is not valid anymore. Given that, as the strongest European supporter for Ukraine, we are prime target for Russian hybrid offensive actions, and we have to prepare for that. Christian Freuding, head of the planning staff and the Special Task Force for Ukraine at Germany's Federal Ministry of Defense, in a comment to European Pravda.
The scale of Russia's sabotage activities could lead NATO to consider invoking Article 5 of the Alliance Chapter. This opinion was expressed by the head of the Federal Intelligence Service of Germany, Bruno Kahl.
The increasing ramp-up of the Russian military potential means a direct military confrontation with NATO becomes one possible option for the Kremlin. We don't have any indication yet that Russia intends to go to war, but if such sentiments gain the upper hand in the government in Moscow, then the risk for a military confrontation will grow over the coming years. Bruno Kahl, president of the Germany's Federal Intelligence Service, in a comment to Reuters. They would like to see a sharp reduction in support for Ukraine and to distract key countries with other issues, not only terrorism but also economic and domestic political matters where Russia has influence.
Russia is carrying out strikingly reckless sabotage in Europe, stated the head of the British Secret Intelligence Service. Moscow is even resorting to nuclear blackmail to prevent Kyiv's allies from supporting Ukraine. Richard Moore is convinced that if Putin is not stopped, European and transatlantic security will be at risk.
The cost of supporting Ukraine is well known, but the cost of not doing so would be infinitely higher. If Putin succeeds, China would weigh the implications, North Korea would be emboldened, and Iran would become yet more dangerous.
On October 2nd, the EU Council approved a new sanctions regime aimed to countering Russia's hybrid threats. The new rules allow for restrictions on the activities of individuals and entities undermining the security of the European Union. This includes efforts to counter the elections' interference, sabotage, disinformation spread, and cyberattacks. The Deputy Prime Minister of Poland noted that since 2022, the number of Russian cyberattacks has tripled.
A large part of these cyber attacks is clearly directed at Poland from Russia. Russia no longer hides that it is at cyber war with Poland. They attack and do so deliberately. Krzysztof Gałkowski, Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, from a speech at the Digital Skills Summit conference.
Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, European Union countries have been increasingly focused on strengthening their defense capabilities. In 2024, Poland has already spent more than 4% of its GDP on defense, one of the highest figures among NATO member states. Reported by Bastun Katerina Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.